my career, I was a consultant, most of the troubled companies in the health industry, most recently for health insurers.
Now, for Vice Commodore, there are two names. There's Jamie Wallace and Kathy Tabb. In the last couple of weeks, Jamie Wallace's personal situation has changed a little bit with work. He's had to take his name off of running that. The name left on the
An active long-range planning committee, because we really are at a point in our restoration where we need to be thinking about 10 years out, 20 years out.
And does anybody have any ideas? Tell me if you're on those committees. Nobody seems to have any idea.
I think there are no committees right now.
There's no committees, okay.
Oh, there's a fine, actually, Tim Thurman did a really good job.
Because a lot of people don't know me. I've only been a member here for maybe 4 years. I can't remember exactly. So I still work full time, so you probably haven't seen me around quite as much as some of the other folks here. But I'm a real estate attorney. I've been an attorney for 30 years, so I feel that I can really contribute to the board in terms of contract negotiations and looking at fine print and figuring out what's good, what's not so good. I also have a lot of experience on nonprofit boards. Before I moved to Florida, I lived in Rhode Island. That's where I learned to sail, up in Point Judith Pond in Rhode Island. And I worked on so many nonprofit boards. It was kind of ridiculous at one point. I had too many boards. But I've done long-term planning, I've written grants, I've worked as vice chair, chair, treasurer, secretary, you name it, I've done it all on boards. So what I feel is really important, and I know this is part of the Rear Commodore job, is for long-term planning. So I don't want to just look at tomorrow's success. That's important too, but I want to look at the success of the squadron in 10 years, in 5 years. And I want to see how can we figure out ways to bring in more revenue without raising all our fees, because I think we're all done with that. But other ways to bring in revenue in terms of fundraising, maybe some grants, maybe some municipal contributions from Sarasota, maybe from the state, who knows? I don't know what's out there, but I'm willing to look for it and see what we can apply for, see what's possible. So that's really where my strengths lie in terms of my past history and in terms of what I can do for the squadron. So thank you very much for having me.
Spectrum sailing was actually one of the highlights for me of sailing with the kids. I've been sailing since I was 11. Took a decade or two off for education and career. I raced a lot and cruised in San Francisco Bay for a while. But it's nice to be here and have access to the water and to be sailing regularly and be in this club. In terms of professional background, I've built and managed project teams to build buildings in San Francisco, operate buildings in that area. In terms of nonprofit experience, I've been on, like you, dozens and dozens of boards. I was the CFO for a nonprofit for a couple of years when I got out of graduate school in finance. Worked on numerous boards. Recently I've been on the advisory board for the Resilient Retreat here in Sarasota. So I look forward to serving as the treasurer. I think this opportunity to merge Sarasota with the squadron is going to be a fair amount of work, from a technical and accounting kind of standpoint. Get all the filings done, things like that. But I think it's a huge kickstart for what could be a whole, an expanded, shall we say, sailing squadron. As an ex-real estate developer, I look at what we have here, and it's like primo. It has so much opportunity. I love, the way people are willing to pitch in and help out, willing to, we're standing on the shoulders of people who've been paying the dues and then committing their time and energy to this place for 30 years, 40 years. You're the elder statesman on the board. And
If you hang around long enough, you become the elder statesman.
Right.
City's longer.
So anyway, does anyone have any questions or any thoughts or? Okay.
Super, thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Niketa. I've been a member at
Stand
this.
up.
Oh, stand up. I've been a member at the squadron. I'm really short. I've been a member here for about 10 years. My husband and I actually raced Flying Scott Midwinters well before we became members, and that was partly why we joined here, because we actually lived closer to a fleet, and now we're south of here, but we met the people and we loved the whole spirit of what the squadron is. And so I am currently, we currently race in the Milgus 15 and the Flying Scott fleet, and I'm on the Luffing Lassie board as their kind of regatta or racing liaison. I believe that regattas are a really important part of what the squadron does and offers, because partly why people love to be here is you have a community of people that you like to hang out with, and the fleets and the regattas really help develop that, and in particular our invitational regattas also help establish us outside of our own little community. And the number of people who are currently members, I know like the Cliftons, I know an East Scout sailor, myself, who joined because they had such a great experience at the squadron at an invitational regatta. So I do think invitational regattas are an important part to promoting the club and our club being known out in the whole sailing community. So that's about it. I've been on the finance committee for the past few years also,
And next to Tim, I would say that Jennifer probably knows her books better than anyone.
I do.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer.
All right.
One quick.
A question?
Just to see.
Oh,
For this.
yeah, yeah. That's just to see.
Hi, everybody. I feel like the junior partner here on this board of 30 years.
And education director.
Education director. I have been a member of the Sailing Squadron off and on for the past 20 years, from anywhere from Illinois. We lived in Miami recently. I've been a member here for more than 2 years. And my business background, if you call it that, I was a pilot for the military and the airlines for 40 years. So what I bring to education is a history of lesson planning and looking at a person and being able to tell where they need to work or what things they need to do to improve their skills. Also, I'm a certified U.S. sailing instructor up to keelboat level. So in the education program, I think the foundation of any education program is safety, because that's what we build on. If we want to go out on the water, we need to educate ourselves on how to be safe. That's not only with the boats and the sailing and the technical aspects of sailing, but also the safety of your health on the water and dehydration or heat stroke, or how to handle an emergency when you're on the water. So I hope to get to know the membership, and I really am membership focused, because you are the customers in my mind of what you want to do, where you want to go, what you want to do with your sailing credentials. If you're new to the squadron and you have a need for additional instruction or lessons or just to practice in the fleets, that's where I come in. The regatta committee, they take care of the races, and they're going to teach you everything you want to know about sailing. I want to teach you everything you want to know about, or racing. Teach you everything you know about racing. I want to teach you everything you want to know about sailing, and that includes other places in the world as well. I've sailed in the Caribbean. I've sailed down the South American coast. I've sailed in Europe, and all over the country, from San Diego to Annapolis to Rhode Island. So what I bring to the squadron, I hope, is a wealth and diversity of knowledge, and I'd love to hear from people in the squadron about what they want to do, what goals they have, and what they want to learn about and grow their sailing skills. So I hope you can support my candidacy, and I'm going to ask you for your vote.
Very good.
There you go, you're on.
You always got to ask for the vote. You got to close the sale.
You make a good Commodore.
Yeah. Give me 10 years.
Look, social membership director currently is Stacy, and Stacy is running for the position.
I'm running against myself. Hi everyone, my name is Stacy King. I'm originally from Long Island, New York, where my dad taught me how to sail when I was a little girl. I sailed sunfish and Hobies. More recently, as a member here, I've dabbled in the American 18s. I do work full-time, so I don't get to sail as much as I like. I'm a local real estate agent for Michael Saunders in town. I'm a resident of Sarasota. I've only been a member for 2 years, but when I did join, it was super important to me to develop the social aspect of it, especially being a new person to the area. It felt very good to have a sense of community and to be able to share not only in the sport that we love, but also socially. So I've been pretty much planning most of the club regattas, and that's kind of my focus, is the club regattas, making it fun, encouraging people to join and to come check us out. And by my background as far as professionally, I was a principal in the South Bronx, a superintendent in New York City, so I'm very good at organizational things and I love to plan. So please give me any feedback that you have.
Great job so far.
Thank you. And we hope to have a really strong year. Thank you.
Super board positions on the board. Also on the ballot is the vote on the merger proposal between Sail Sarasota and the Sarasota Sailing Squadron. And Jennifer, I don't know if you want to say anything or just...
The reason why we're doing it, obviously, is when we look at the long-term sustainability of the club, that becoming a 501c3 will enable the fundraising and some of the other things that access to grants that we may not have access to as we are currently a 501c7. So it's really for our long-term sustainability, which is why we want to do it. And then, how we're doing it is through a merger with Sail Sarasota. And the reason, when we consulted with our attorney, this was a simplest path forward, because Sail Sarasota has an established 501c3. And so through this merger, we leveraged their tax record of being a 501c3, but that through the plan of merger, the organization will be named the Squadron, Sarasota Sailing Squadron. It will have the same employees, the same members, the same assets, same operation. So in the merger, we say the surviving organization, if you will, is Sail Sarasota. Sail Sarasota is the surviving organization because we retain their tax status, but in name and in operation, it is Sarasota Sailing Squadron. And so then there's a few documents that go into like the specifics of updating to the bylaws, updates to the bylaws, and so on and so forth. So I don't know if people had specific questions about it.
So if it passes with the right number of people voting for it, do you have to do more bylaw stuff after that?
No.
Oh.
So the bylaws that when you vote, you're approving the 3 documents, which includes the plan of merger. It includes the restated bylaws, and these restated bylaws used the existing squadron bylaws as the starting point, and then we just made some small changes to, ensure that we're compliant with 501c3 stuff. But those bylaws will take, assuming the vote passes on November 2nd, the bylaws take effect December 30th at 12:59 p.m. and then the merger takes effect January 1st at midnight. So the new bylaws will
December 31st.
Sorry, December 31st, correct.
Okay,
And not related to the 501c3, in this process, we identified that, like, to do electronic voting, which was very popular, we have to amend our bylaws.
Yeah.
That was not feasible to do that in this pass, so there's gonna be some refreshing of bylaws. We're probably gonna have another vote on that. but not related to
Yeah.
501c3.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's all
it's
I
not
asked.
because of the
It's not gonna make it more
And I should
complicated.
acknowledge, it was
Trying to make it
when,
simpler.
when Cindy was our rear Commodore and we were doing the long-range plan at that time, this is before the hurricanes, that it was recognized, and Linda Leader, myself from the Finance Committee, and Cindy from the long-range planning kind of recognized that we're reaching this point of really needing to be able to have some significant infusion of grants or fundraising. So this all started from back before the hurricanes, but the hurricanes certainly made it more absolutely a critical part of the committee. So we were able to utilize her expertise.
There was a team.
And then we had great support from the Sail Sarasota board, which includes Ray Markham and Dave Jennings and Ted. Oh, I thought it was Ted. Yeah, Ted. So, great support through, and then also from the Sarasota Sailing Squadron board, which, Bob and Bill and the others have been really supportive. But, I think I'm trying to think of any questions that people might have. Someone asked, like, are there any negatives that we foresee? And I'd say, not to the average member, to Alan, like there's some back office things that we have to make sure that we're going to have to do our filings and make sure we have the way to document things properly so we can file properly. But it's not something earth-shattering that will affect you all.
So I have a quick question. As a
Yes.
new member, I'm not aware of anything. The bylaws, how much percentage of voting is required for for change of bylaws? And
For this change, our attorney says 50%, majority. 51.
And is there any risk of not showing up, people not showing up and not voting?
Of the quorum, right?
51% of the.
We need to have roughly 60 to have a quorum. And we are counting proxies, so if you fill out a proxy form, then Bill will vote that proxy at the time of the annual meeting. But if we could get 60 proxies, we would know we've met the quorum. That would make our job easier.
I think at this point, we're pretty confident we will have a quorum, but I encourage you to vote and encourage everyone you know to vote.
Yeah.
Having 200 people vote, even though we don't need it, is better than having 61.
Well, Ray, you might say that this squadron's gonna get some money out of it too, right?
Yes.
So vote for it. What do we transfer? We're transferring
Yeah.
money.
Right.
Yeah. Sail Sarasota has no assets except a bank account. We have no employees, we don't own any property, we are allowed to claim the mailbox here as our mailing address, but we do have a bank account. My hope is that that bank account will be largely all turned over to the squadron and its components prior to midnight on the 31st. But
We'll work it out.
All right, super.
All right, but we can still, have the socials, have a bar, do the activities we've been doing. It's just,
practically every sailing club, not yacht clubs, which are country clubs, are 501c3s. And they fill out 990 forms, which is not all that different than corporate forms.
yeah, no, so they're Clearwater's 501c3, the U.S. Sailing Center at Jensen Beach, Claremont, Charlotte Harbor Sailing Club is 501c3. So,
U.S. Sailing itself is a 501c3.
yeah.
And we're already nonprofit, so it's
Yes.
not like
Yeah.
we're.
This is not a big
It's not like
deal.
we're moving from a for-profit to a not-for-profit. It's really just some changes in reporting. I had one of my fleet contact me and say, gee, I wish we were changing more. And I go, well, we can change more, we just gotta figure out what we wanna do. But the 501c3 itself is not going to not really even materially change anything about what goes on here.
Right, because really what we believe our operation, what our mission is about sailing education, having regattas, doing non-motorized water sports is consistent with, our current mission and our future mission. It's same intent. All right.
I'm Susan St. John, and I'm this year's election judge. You've
been receiving emails, and you'll keep receiving emails from me until November 2nd. If you have any questions or concerns about the ballot or the election process, please reach out to me. The box will not be opened until November 2nd, so we just need to keep voting, encourage others to vote so we can build our quorum so that we have a good, healthy election. So, thank you.
All right.
How many guys?
So I would encourage you, if you have an opportunity and you're not sure you're gonna be here the 2nd, put your vote in now and lock it in. I would encourage that. You know, that would be a great thing. Now is a good opportunity, if you haven't met these folks, to introduce yourself and get a chance to talk, and certainly appreciate your folks' effort and look forward to the success coming next year.
A round of applause for Bob.